The galaxy had long settled into a quiet complacency. For 20,000 years, humanity was a ghost, a memory whispered only in the oldest star charts and forgotten histories. Civilizations rose and fell. Empires expanded and contracted. But none could explain what had happened to the species that once ruled dozens of star systems. When the last transmission of the ardent dawn vanished, the galaxy declared humanity extinct. But then, one cold day, near the outer rim of explored space, sensors aboard the research vessel Celestial Echo detected an anomaly. The readings were faint energy signature drifting through the void. The crew thought it might be a natural phenomenon, a comet or a rogue asteroid emitting an unusual magnetic field. But as they approached, the readings grew clearer. There it was, a massive spacecraft, ancient and weathered, yet fully operational. The Ardent Dawn. The ship had been lost in myth and legend. No one had seen it since the Great Silence, the mysterious event that had plunged humanity into disappearance. The Ardent Dawn was a relic from a forgotten era, its design far older than any vessel currently flying the stars. Its hull was scarred with the marks of time and battle, but its thrusters emitted a steady, low hum, as if waiting for a command long forgotten. Commander Lasara of the Celestial Echo stared at the ghost ship through the viewport, her breath caught between disbelief and wonder. "How is this possible?" she murmured. "They said humanity was gone, dead, forgotten." Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Miro, was already preparing a boarding team. "Orders, Commander." Lasara hesitated. The Ardent Dawn could be a trap. A derelict harboring danger beyond imagination, or a key to answers that could change everything. With a steady voice, she said, "We board. Carefully, we find out what happened." The boarding party was a mix of the best the galaxy's coalition could offer. Engineers, scientists, and soldiers, all armed with curiosity and caution. There, shuttle docked with the ancient vessel's airlock, a hiss of decompression marking their passage from the familiar to the unknown. Inside, the corridors were dim and silent, lit only by emergency lights flickering faintly. The air was stale but breathable. Panels glowed faintly, flickering with ancient codes that no one fully understood. The human technology was alien too. Their scanners advanced, yet archaic, a paradox of design and function. As they moved deeper, the boarding party discovered rows of cryogenic pods lining a massive chamber, hundreds of them, frozen in time. Some were cracked, others intact, but all held silent, motionless figures inside. The unmistakable shape of human forms, preserved in a state between life and death. Dr. Kale, the Coalition's leading xenobiologist, approached one pod with trembling hands. This is incredible. These humans were put into stasis hibernation for centuries, maybe millennia. Suddenly, the ship's AI, long dormant, flickered to life. A cold, mechanical voice echoed through the chamber, speaking in an ancient dialect which the team's translators struggled to interpret. The message was fragmented, but clear enough: a set of coordinates. A star system far beyond known space. "What's the meaning of this?" Lysara asked aloud, eyes scanning the room. Before anyone could answer, a faint light pulsed from the pods. One by one, they began to hiss and crack, releasing clouds of vapor. The first pod opened, and a figure stirred inside, pale, gaunt, but alive. The humans slowly sat up, eyes wide with confusion, but burning with a fierce spark of life. He spoke, his voice hoarse yet resolute. "We have returned." The alien crew exchanged uneasy glances. This was no ordinary rescue mission. This was the beginning of something far greater, something the galaxy was not prepared for. Outside the Ardent Dawn, distant stars shimmered coldly, unaware that humanity's long silence was coming to an end. The chamber hummed softly with the slow release of cryogenic vapor. Mist curling through the dim light like ghosts from a long-forgotten past. The humans awakening from their pods were a startling sight, frail, yet filled with undeniable vitality. Their eyes wide with confusion, fear, and an ancient spark of determination. Captain Alaric was the first to emerge fully from his pod. His features were sharp but weathered, as if carved by centuries of silence. His eyes darted around the chamber, taking in the strange shapes of the alien crew surrounding him. He blinked several times, struggling to process the unfamiliar environment. "Where am I?" His voice cracked, but held an unmistakable edge of command. Dr. Kale stepped forward, hands raised in peaceful greeting. "You're aboard the Celestial Echo, allied with various races of the galaxy. You've been in stasis for a very long time." Alaric's brow furrowed. "Stasis? How long?" Lieutenant Miro hesitated, then said, "More than 20,000 years." A murmur rippled through the room. Some aliens looked shocked, others skeptical. 20,000 years was beyond comprehension for many species. One by one, the other pods hissed open. Humans of all ages and backgrounds, soldiers, scientists, engineers emerged slowly, some weak, others surprisingly alert. They shared confused glances and asked questions that the aliens struggled to answer. Their memories were fragmented, faded like distant dreams. But one truth was clear. They were survivors of a vanished civilization, reborn into a galaxy that had moved on without them. "Why did you sleep?" Alaric finally demanded, his voice steady despite the shock. The ship's AI responded with fragments of a log entry. "Catastrophe imminent. Activation of long-term cryosleep protocol. Preservation of species. Survival last priority." Alaric's jaw clenched. Whatever disaster had forced humanity into this eternal sleep was still a mystery, but the urgency was clear. The alien crew observed something extraordinary. Despite the centuries of dormancy, the humans' bodies showed remarkable resilience. Small wounds healed rapidly, senses sharpened beyond normal human limits, and their minds seemed capable of rapid adaptation. Dr. Kale hypothesized that humanity had evolved defensive mechanisms. During their prolonged stasis, a survival trait encoded deep within their DNA. "It's as if they were designed to endure," she said quietly to Lasara. Lasara nodded, "Or prepared for something we can't yet understand." As the days passed aboard the Ardent Dawn and Celestial Echo docked nearby, the humans began to acclimate. The alien scientists introduced them to modern technology, languages, and galactic politics. The cultural shock was immense. Civilizations had advanced, alliances shifted, and many species that had once feared humanity now viewed them as relics. But the humans did not see themselves as relics. They were warriors, explorers, creators, descendants of a species that once shaped entire star systems. Their dreams carried echoes of forgotten worlds and lost glories. Among the newly awakened was Dr. Ilara, a historian whose knowledge spanned the last days before the Great Sleep. She pieced together clues from the ship's archives, revealing hints of an unknown enemy or disaster that had forced humanity's hibernation. "There's more out there," Ilara told the crew. "A threat we never faced. It's why we went to sleep, to survive until we were ready." Her words stirred unease among the alien allies. If humanity had been hiding from something, could that threat still exist? Meanwhile, Alaric focused on leadership, organizing the survivors into squads and teams. Despite their confusion, they quickly demonstrated discipline and strategic thinking far beyond expectations. In simulated drills, they adapted tactics lost to time but still effective, blending ancient methods with newfound knowledge in one training session. A young recruit named Kane astonished observers by mastering a complex alien weapon in Manetza. Feat that drew curious glances and hushed whispers. "It's like their minds operate faster," noted one alien soldier. Alaric watched Kane with quiet pride. Humanity had slept for millennia, but now they were waking and the galaxy had better take notice. Then one day, the ship's AI repeated. The coordinates from the ancient log, a silent call across the void. It was an invitation and, perhaps, a warning. The humans prepared to follow. The Ardent, Dawn, and its new crew were no longer drifting relics. They were the vanguard of a species returning from the shadows, ready to reclaim their place among the stars. The galaxy was about to remember humanity, and it would never be the same again. The Ardent Dawn hummed softly as the ancient ship's systems settled into a steady rhythm. Its creaking hull, scarred by centuries drifting through space, seemed almost alive, responding to the awakening of its crew. The humans who had emerged from their pods were adapting quickly, but the questions pressing on everyone's minds were many, most urgent among them. What awaited at the mysterious coordinates the ship's AI continued to broadcast? Captain Alaric stood in the ship's dimly lit command bridge, the vast expanse of space stretching before him through thick, reinforced glass. He was flanked by the alien officers who had helped uncover the ship and now worked closely with the human survivors. The bridge was a strange fusion of ancient human technology and more recent alien instruments. Humming together in uneasy harmony, Dr. Alara approached. Carrying a digital tablet filled with fragmented data from the ship's archives, her eyes were bright with excitement despite the gravity of their mission. "We've recovered partial logs from the ship's central memory core," she explained. "The entries are incomplete, but they give us a glimpse into the final days before the Great Sleep." She tapped the screen, and an image flickered to life. A star system ablaze with explosions, ships burning in the void, and a desperate last. Message from humanity's command. "The logs mention a nemesis, some kind of threat or enemy," Alara said, voice low. They called it the Collapse. The final mission of the Ardent Dawn was to lead a group of survivors to this coordinate system, believed to be a safe haven. Alaric's jaw tightened. So the coordinates are not random. They mark humanity's last hope, a place to start again. Exactly, Alara said. But there's more. The logs suggest that whatever they were fleeing from was powerful enough to force an entire species into suspended animation. They hoped time would give them the strength to fight back. Lysara, the alien commander, looked out the viewport with a frown. If this nemesis still exists, it could threaten all life in this region, not just humanity. The crew shared uneasy glances. The discovery transformed their mission from a simple rescue to a search for survival and maybe a war to come. Meanwhile, in the ship's communal quarters, the human survivors gathered, listening intently as Alaric spoke. "We don't know what lies ahead," he told them, "but this is our chance. Our chance to reclaim what was lost. We have allies here now, and together, we'll face whatever waits." The room buzzed with cautious hope. Over the next several days, scientists and engineers worked tirelessly, repairing the ship's systems and preparing for the long journey to the unknown star system. Meanwhile, the crew pieced together the fragments of their history, discovering old maps, star charts, and records that told of humanity's once great empire. Young Kane, curious and energetic, spent hours studying the ship's navigation room. He marveled at the star maps and old coordinates, wondering what awaited at the destination. One night, while reviewing the logs, Kane found an encrypted file hidden deep within the ship's AI core. It contained a message addressed not to the living, but to those who might awaken in the future. With careful fingers, Kane decrypted the file and called Alaric and Alara to the bridge. The message played in a haunting tone. A voice from a distant past filled with urgency and hope. "If you hear this, know that we have endured the impossible. The enemy we faced was relentless, but humanity's spirit could not be broken. We entered this sleep to survive, to awaken stronger. The coordinates you follow are the key to our rebirth, a world where we will rise again. The message ended with a plea: remember who you are. Remember what you fight for. The stars themselves will bend to humanity's will once more. Alaric felt a surge of pride and determination. The ghosts of the past were speaking through time, guiding them forward. The ardent dawn prepared to leave the safety of known space, entering uncharted territory with hope and caution. Alien allies provided escorts and resources, but none could predict what awaited beyond the star system on the edge of the galaxy. As the engines powered up, the humans gathered on the bridge one last time before departure. The ancient ship creaked and shuddered as it pulled away from the system where humanity had been forgotten. Outside, the stars shimmered like distant promises. Humanity was no longer lost. It was awake, aware, and ready. The journey had begun. The ardent dawn and its small escort fleet slipped quietly away from the familiar borders of settled space, engines humming softly as they propelled into the unknown. The stars outside the viewport stretched like endless diamonds, glittering cold and distant. For the humans aboard, this was more than just a journey, was a leap of faith into a future that had been written in the hopes of ancestors long gone. Captain Alaric stood beside Commander Lacera, who had taken temporary command of the alien escort fleet. Her eyes scanned the tactical displays, ever vigilant. "We're entering uncharted space," Lacera said. "There's no way to know what hazards we'll face. This sector hasn't been mapped in thousands of years." Alaric nodded. "We have no choice. The coordinates the AI gave us are our only lead." The crew's mood was a mixture of determination and unease. Despite the advanced technology aboard the Ardent Dawn, deep space remained unforgiving. Sensors tracked nebulous, asteroid fields, and rogue comets, each a potential threat. Among the humans, Kane moved with restless energy. His curiosity burned brighter with each passing light hour. He spent hours studying star charts and ancient logs, piecing together the fragments of a civilization once lost but never forgotten. To him, the journey was more than survival, it was discovery. But it was not just the unknown dangers of space that weighed heavily on the crew. News of humanity's awakening had spread swiftly across the galaxy, drawing attention from distant powers, some curious, some wary, and some openly hostile. As the fleet passed through a dense asteroid belt, the sensors suddenly flared with alarms. A sleek, unfamiliar ship appeared on the edge of detection, fast-moving, cloaked, and heavily armed. "Unknown vessel approaching," Lieutenant Miro reported. No response to hails. "Defensive posture," Alaric ordered. The Ardent Dawn powered up its shields, and the escort fleet prepared for possible combat. Minutes stretched tensely. Then the vessel altered course, vanishing back into the shadows of space. "It was a warning," Lysara said grimly. "Someone is watching us." Alaric's expression hardened. "Let them watch. We won't be stopped." The incident was a harsh reminder. Humanity's return would not go unnoticed or uncontested. Days passed, and the humans adapted quickly to their new lives aboard the ship. Their bodies, still enhanced by the mysterious effects of stasis, healed faster and endured stress better than most aliens. Training drills became rigorous, with squads practicing maneuvers both old and new, blending human ingenuity with alien technology. Meanwhile, Dr. Alara and the science team studied the ship's sensors, scanning the surrounding space for anomalies. They detected faint energy signatures unlike anything cataloged before, residual traces from long-past battles, or perhaps something more ominous. One afternoon, as the Ardent Dawn slipped past a dim red star, the ship's AI suddenly activated an encrypted message. The entire crew gathered in the main hall as a holographic image flickered to life, an ancient human commander recording a final message before the Great Sleep. "We cannot run forever," the hologram said, voice steady but laced with urgency. "The enemy watches, waits in the darkness, but we will awaken. We will fight. Humanity's legacy is not one of surrender, but of defiance. Hold fast, and remember, the stars are ours to claim." The room was silent for a moment before Alaric spoke. "That legacy is ours to carry now. We owe it to those who slept before us." As the fleet pressed onward, unexpected bonds formed between human and alien crew alike. They shared stories, traditions, and hopes, learning to trust one another. Despite differences shaped by millennia apart, Kane found an unlikely friend in an alien engineer named Soren, who marveled at human resilience. Together, they explored forgotten ship corridors, uncovering hidden compartments filled with ancient Earth artifacts, books, tools, and even faded photographs. Each discovery was a reminder that humanity's story was far from over. But the sense of peace was fragile. Signals intercepted hinted at a growing network of factions uneasy with humanity's return. Rumors spread of an alliance forming to keep the humans contained or eliminated. The Ardent Dawn sailed steadily into deeper, darker space, its crew alert but undaunted. Behind them lay a galaxy that had moved on. Ahead lay a star system wrapped in mystery, a beacon of hope or the heart of a new conflict. The journey beyond had begun, and humanity was ready. The Ardent Dawn glided out of the void and into the light of an unfamiliar star system. The distant sun hung low, casting long shadows across the barren, cratered surface of the planet below. It was a world both ancient and wild, covered in thick forests that stretched beyond the horizon. Hiding ruins long swallowed by time, Captain Alaric stood at the bridge's viewport, a rare smile breaking his usually stoic expression. This must be it. Our sanctuary. Our new beginning. The coordinates had led them here, to a planet once known as Alicia, humanity's cradle world. Abandoned millennia ago, after the collapse. Now, it was a forgotten jewel, cloaked in mystery and untamed in nature. Dr. Alara and the scientific team prepared the landing party. "We don't know what condition the planet is in," she cautioned, "but these ruins, it could hold technology and knowledge critical to our survival." The fleet's smaller shuttles descended through a thick atmosphere buffeted by strong winds and the scent of wild growth. When the landing party set foot on the ground, the silence was profound, broken only by distant calls of strange creatures echoing through towering trees. The ruins rose like ghostly monuments, covered in creeping vines and moss. Massive stone structures stood cracked but unyielding, etched with symbols that even the ancient human survivors could barely decipher. "This was once a thriving city," Alara said, running her fingers over a weathered inscription. "The heart of humanity's golden age." Kane wandered through the streets, marveling at the colossal remnants of an empire that time had tried to erase. "We're walking through history," he whispered, but the beauty of the world was shadowed by a lingering question. Why had humanity left this place? What catastrophe had forced their exodus? As the team explored, strange readings began to emerge on their scanners' energy signatures, unlike anything seen before. Faint but persistent. The source was buried deep beneath the ruins. Curiosity and caution battled in the minds of the explorers. Alaric authorized an excavation. Teams broke ground in an ancient chamber, revealing a sealed vault. Its entrance adorned with human and alien symbols, intertwined proof of alliances long lost. Inside, the walls glowed faintly with dormant technology, and holographic projections flickered to life when activated. The team watched in awe as a star map unfolded, revealing routes to distant worlds, resources, and warnings of dangers. One projection detailed a catastrophic event, the collapse caused by a hostile force, labeled only as the Nemesis. It showed fleets destroyed, cities lost, and a desperate evacuation plan that led to the cryogenic sleep protocol. This was humanity's last stand, Alara said softly, and this planet was the core of their hope. The discovery reignited a fierce determination among the humans. This was their heritage, the reason they had slept and waited. But the planet was not without its dangers. Strange life forms watched from the shadows. Creatures evolved in isolation, some curious, others territorial. On more than one occasion, shuttles detected quick-moving entities that vanished before anyone could respond. One evening, as a survey team returned to the landing zone, their comms crackled with staticant. Then a chilling message: leave this world, or face extinction. The words sent a wave of unease through the crew. Who or what was warning them? Back on the ship, the Alliance's leaders gathered. Lysara's face was grim. If someone wants us gone, they have resources and reach. This planet may be forgotten, but it is not unclaimed. Alaric stood tall. We came here seeking a home. We will defend it. The humans and their alien allies fortified their position, integrating ancient technology with modern defenses. They prepared for a confrontation that could decide their fate. As the stars wheeled overhead, Kane stood at the edge of the ruins, looking up at the night sky. We have a second chance, he said, quietly. But it won't be easy. The past is waking and so are its dangers. The forgotten world was no sanctuary. It was a battleground, and humanity's return had only just begun. The atmosphere aboard the Arden Dawn was taut with unease. The warning received on Elysia hung heavy in the air like a storm about to break. For a species that had slept for 20,000 years, the humans were suddenly awakened not only to a new galaxy, but to threats lurking in the dark. Captain Alaric paced the command deck, his mind racing. The Nemesis, this ancient enemy, was no longer just a story etched in holograms and fading logs. It was real, and it was coming. We need to understand who sent the warning, Alaric said, eyes locked on the tactical map pulsing with sensor. Data. Was it a remnant of the Nemesis? A faction still loyal to their cause? Or someone else entirely? Commander Lysara stood beside him, her gaze sharp. Whatever it is, they've watched us since we left the outer systems. Their reach is long. Lieutenant Miro tapped a console, bringing up intercepted communications. We've picked up encrypted chatter, nearby signals bouncing off relay stations that seem abandoned for centuries. It's patchy, but there's mention of new arrivals and the old threat. Alaric nodded grimly. They know we're here. And they're preparing. Meanwhile, the human survivors intensified their efforts to fortify their position. On Elysia, scientists worked to reactivate ancient defense systems buried beneath the ruins' energy shields. Automated turrets and long-dormant drones. Engineers, both human and alien, collaborated to retrofit these with modern power sources. Kane, ever curious, joined a reconnaissance mission to scout the nearby forests for signs of enemy activity. The dense woods were alive with unfamiliar, sound-shifting shadows, distant howls, and the faint glow of bioluminescent plants. As the team moved cautiously through the undergrowth, Kane spotted strange symbols etched into tree bark markings that seemed almost ritualistic. Signs of a sentient presence, he said, voice low. Something has been here recently. Suddenly, a low growl echoed from the darkness. The squad froze, weapons raised. Out of the shadows emerged a creature unlike any catalogued before. Tall, sinewy, with glowing eyes and sharp claws. It moved with unnatural speed, disappearing into the trees as quickly as it came. The encounter was brief, but unsettling. Back on the ship, Dr. Alara analyzed biological samples brought back from the forests. These creatures have evolved in isolation for millennia, she explained. But their physiology suggests a connection to the Nemesis Seether as bioengineered. soldiers or remnants of their genetic experiments. Alaric clenched his fists. So the Nemesis left pieces of themselves here, monsters waiting in the dark. That night, a sudden power fluctuation rocked the ardent dawn. The ancient ship's lights flickered, and warning sirens blared briefly before systems stabilized. Sabotage, Lysara asked sharply. Unknown, Alaric replied. But someone is inside the system probing us. Security teams scoured the ship but found no signs of intrusion. Still, the crew knew they were being watched. The next morning, the communications officer intercepted a new message. Broadcast sent across multiple frequencies in a language unknown but accompanied by disturbing imagery: dark ships cutting through starfields, weapons firing, and a symbol resembling a shattered star. Ilaru's translation algorithms worked feverishly. The symbol is a known emblem of the Nemesis faction, a warning to all who would oppose them. Alaric turned to his crew. This is a declaration of war. Amidst the growing tension, Kane confided in Soren, the alien engineer. We thought waking from stasis was the hardest part. Turns out, the galaxy never forgot us or forgave us. Soren nodded. We will face what comes together. The alliances forged in the Arden Dawn's flight were about to be tested. Outside, the stars shimmered coldly. The shadows that had waited in silence for millennia were stirring. Humanity's long sleep was over, but the nightmare was just beginning. The tension that had gripped the Ardent Dawn and its crew broke abruptly under the cold light of a distant sun. Sensors flared with alerts as multiple enemy vessels materialized from the void, cutting through Elysia's orbit like knives. The long-feared Nemesis had arrived. Captain Alaric stood firm on the bridge, his voice steady but charged with urgency. Battle stations. This is the moment we prepared for. The humans and their alien allies moved swiftly, coordinating their defenses with practiced precision despite the novelty of their situation. Ancient turrets hummed to life across Elysia's surface, and the Ardent Dawn's shields flared, bracing for impact. Enemy ships are deploying fighter squadrons, Lieutenant Miro reported. They're fast and well-armed. Target there. Launch bays first, Lysara commanded. We can't afford to be overwhelmed. As the battle erupted above the planet, streaks of light laser fire and missile trails crisscrossed the void. Fighters darted through the chaos, dogfighting with a deadly grace honed by centuries of conflict. Alaric's squadron led the charge. Their tactics, a blend of old Earth combat strategies and new alien technology. The humans' adaptability stunned their foes, turning the tide in several skirmishes in the thick of the fight. Kane piloted a sleek interceptor, weaving through enemy fire with daring agility. His eyes were sharp, his instincts finely tuned. Target locked on capital ship, he radioed. Launching assault now. With a roar, Kane's craft closed in, delivering precision strikes that disabled the enemy's weapon systems. Nemesis forces faltered, but responded with brutal counterattacks. Back on Elysia, the planetary defenses absorbed heavy damage. The automated turrets blasted incoming fighters, but the Nemesis were relentless, sending boarding pods toward the surface. The landing alarms blared. Ground teams scrambled to repel the invaders, weapons firing in bursts of light and sound amid the jungle ruins. Elara coordinated the defense of the ancient vault where the ship's AI and critical technology were housed. If they breach this chamber, we lose everything, she warned as the enemy forces stormed the perimeter. The combined human and alien soldiers fought with fierce determination. The planet's wild creatures, sensing the disturbance, stirred from their hiding places, adding unpredictable chaos to the battle. Amid the carnage, Alaric led a counteroffensive squad against the boarding pods, moving with deadly efficiency. Every victory was hard-won, every loss a sharp reminder of the stakes. Suddenly, The enemy flagship appeared on the main view screen, a massive, sinister vessel bristling with weapons and cloaked in dark energy. Command ship identified, Miro announced. They're focusing fire on the Ardent Dawn. Alaric's eyes narrowed. Divert all power to forward shields. We won't let them break through. The flagship unleashed a devastating energy blast, shaking the Ardent Dawn to its core. Systems faltered, lights flickered, but the ship held. Shields at 50%, Lysera reported. We need to strike back hard. Alaric made a decisive call. Prepare the ancient weapon. It's time to awaken the legacy of humanity. Deep within the ship, engineers and scientists worked feverishly to activate a dormant superweapon N, artifact of humanity's golden age, hidden away during the collapse. As power surged through the ship's veins, the weapon hummed to life, a beacon of hope amid the darkness. With a thunderous roar, the Ardent Dawn fired a concentrated beam of energy at the enemy flagship. The blast tore through its shields, igniting a chain reaction that crippled the vessel. The enemy fleet faltered, retreating into the void as quickly as they had come. On Elysia, cheers erupted from the surviving defenders. The planet had held, but Alaric knew this was only the beginning. The Nemesis had tested humanity's resolve. Vand found it stronger than they expected. The battle had been won, but the war was far from over. As the stars blinked coldly above, the humans and their allies prepared for the challenges yet to come. Humanity had awoken, and now they would fight to reclaim their future. The silence after the battle was almost surreal. The Ardent Dawn drifted through Alicia's orbit, scarred but unbroken. The shattered remnants of the Nemesis fleet scattered like frightened shadows, retreating into the darkness of space. For the first time in 20,000 years, humanity had not only awakened, they had fought back and prevailed. Captain Alaric stood on the bridge, the weight of command heavy on his shoulders, but tempered by a fierce pride. Around him, the crew, human and alien, alike worked to repair damages and regroup, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of starfields beyond. We've won this battle, Carrick said quietly, but the war is far from over. The Nemesis will not forget. They will come back. Commander Lysera nodded, her expression steady. Then we will be ready. This planet, these people, they are a beacon. A new beginning for humanity and its allies. Below, on the surface of Elysia, the ruins had transformed from silent tombs of a forgotten past into living testaments of resilience. The ancient technology, awakened and combined with the ingenuity of the present, began to heal the scars left by time and war. Dr. Ilara surveyed the progress alongside Kane, who had returned from his reconnaissance missions with a renewed sense of purpose. This world is fertile ground, she said, brushing dirt from a strange glowing flower. It holds everything we need to rebuild. Kane smiled, gazing up at the twin moons rising over the horizon, and it's ours to protect. The bond between humans and their alien allies had grown deeper through fire and trial. Soren, the engineer who had become Kane's closest friend, stood nearby, adjusting a power relay that hummed softly with life. This alliance is our strength, Soren said. Together, we are more than survivors. We are pioneers. Back aboard the Ardent Dawn, the ship's AI, once a dormant relic, had fully integrated with the crew, offering guidance from the wisdom of a lost era. It projected a star map highlighting potential new worlds to explore, colonies to reclaim, and dangers to confront. Alaric studied the map carefully. We can't just survive here. We have to thrive, to reclaim humanity's place among the stars. Suddenly, a message beacon flickered on the main screen. It was a transmission from an unknown source, an ancient human colony that had survived in isolation, untouched by the Nemesis. We are not alone, Ilara said softly. There are others out there. The message was an invitation, a call to unite, to stand together against the threats that had forced humanity into sleep. Hope blossomed like the first light of dawn. Weeks later, the combined fleet prepared for their next journey, stronger and more united than ever. The ardent dawn led the way, its engines blazing with renewed vigor as the ship slipped into faster-than-light travel. Alaric looked out once more at the stars, the vast, endless ocean of possibility. "This is our time," he said, voice-filled with determination. "We carry the legacy of those who came before, and we forge the future for those yet to come." The humans, their alien friends, and the legacy of a civilization thought lost had all awakened together. The galaxy would never be the same, because humanity had returned, and this time they were here to stay.